All right, fastest 15 minutes in social media, fastest 15 minutes on the internet. My name is Judson Powell. Please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit all the buttons, hit the notification button, but hit the love button. Love one another. Yeah. I've been like on the Kobe kick and on the spirituality kick for a little while now, but I got to turn to politics. Got to turn to politics because what the Republican-controlled Senate is doing is criminal. What they're actually doing right now is actually criminal. So I just want y'all to understand that they're not going to call any witnesses in the impeachment trial, and they're doing this so that they can just get the trial over with. And it's absolutely ridiculous, and it creates a problem. And here's the problem. The problem is that it creates a dictator, because there's now, with this move, there will never ever be any accountability within the presidency, and so basically it's partisan. Whoever controls the Senate or whoever controls the House or whatever, they're always going to win. All right. The same thing with, that's why I've been advocating. I've been seeing a lot of people talk about getting rid of the Electoral College, and it needs to be done away with. We don't need anybody to interpret the election or to cast another vote. It should be one person, one vote. And that's exactly what they don't want, because they understand that if it's one person, one vote, and there's no other checks and balances on the election like they have, then there's no way that a majority white people can win. And that's what this is all about, y'all. The other thing is, and people keep talking about how Trump is like rolling back everything that the Obama administration did. The Obama administration kind of went along with, with world politics, and we were trying to be good citizens in the world. Well, Trump and the white people in the Senate, and I'm going to be the white supremacist in the Senate, the white nationalists in the Senate. They don't want any of this. So this is really about racism. It's deep-rooted, deep-seated racism, because they don't care about anybody but themselves and how much money they're going to make. And so basically their whole, and I think I was reading one of my friends' posts, and it even said that, that they have like an agenda, basically an agenda of apartheid. All right. That, that they want white people to be in control, just like it was in South Africa. So with that being said, that's what this move is all about. Also, with that being said, we have got to go to these places, and a lot of times what I found out is that it's inaction. And I've always said that that when you are in these kind of battles, and we got too many people, we have too many Africans and descendants of Africans out here who are eligible to vote, who are not voting. Not only are they not voting, but they're also spreading it, saying, well, you don't need to vote, or voting's not going to change anything. All you're doing is voting for this person or voting for that person. But look at it from a standpoint of common sense. In the last, in the Georgia gubernatorial election and in the Maryland gubernatorial elections, in the last elections, what did they do? Voter tampering, voter suppression. They did everything they could to keep black people from voting. Why? Because especially in Georgia, people know if everybody black in Georgia actually registered and voted, there's no way that there could be a white governor of the state of Georgia, because it's too many. And I've been telling y'all this for the longest. This whole thing, if they really count the population, which they're not counting the real population. What they're doing is they're making the numbers up, and they're telling us, oh, well, you guys only make between 13 and 17% of the population, but we make up 60 to 70% of the jail population. We make up, and of course, when you go to prison, I should say prison, not jail, but when you go to prison, then you're unable to vote. And all that kind of stuff. So some states have passed laws to allow people that have been released from jail to vote. But the bottom line is that all of this stuff is about voter suppression or being able to steal the election. We know that Al Gore beat Baby Bush. We know that he beat Baby Bush, and the Supreme Court, which was what? Republican, took it away from him. Okay? And we know that Hillary, by 4 million votes, beat Trump. But that's what the will of the people is. And basically they understand that there's no way, under the current rules, there's no way they can win. So they're doing everything they can. So that's why there has to be grassroots organization, number one, to get rid of the Electoral College. Number two, everybody needs to go out and vote. And like I said, I respect Dr. Claude Anderson. I've read his work and all that kind of stuff. And I respect him, and I love him, I'm glad he's here. But on the same token, and I know the word "but" means that everything I said before, not everything. But here's the thing: we have got to organize, vote, and strategically vote people out. And the other thing is, and my second thing, which I keep on harping on, is accountability. The people that we elect, we have to hold them accountable. Those senators and stuff that are sitting up there that are violating the law, and they're the ones that are really anti-American. If you really want to know, because they're going against the Constitution. They're in order for them to keep money and control over everything. And here's why they won't impeach Donald Trump. The reason why they don't impeach Donald Trump is because Donald Trump is their idiot. Donald Trump is their lackey. He's their boy. So because then they can sit back in the cut and have him say and do everything. See, Donald Trump is saying and doing what they want. He's like a comedian. He's like Dave Chappelle. Dave Chappelle will talk about, gays and lesbians because, people know if I go out and I talk about gays and lesbians or whatever, then I'll get in trouble. But I can do it because I'm just a comedian. All I'm here to do, it was a joke, right? And so basically that's what Trump is. Trump is a joke. But he's a very serious joke because he's in the highest office, in the land. So this is what they're doing. So tax cut. Okay, so you give them 35% tax cut, right? You give them, you roll back all of the basically regulations to every industry. Every industry, if you notice, I don't know if you've been watching the news, but if you notice, every industry, the regulations in every single industry are being rolled back. The reason why, for example, and they're talking about all the earthquakes and everything that are happening around the world, the reason why those earthquakes are happening is because they are pumping oil out of the ground at tremendous rates. And the reason why they won't allow, and the reason why they have restrictions on green energy is because they're trying to make money off of oil. And they realize that, hey, they could run, like in Puerto Rico, what happened when Puerto Rico experienced the hurricane and then the earthquakes and all that. Well, the bottom line is that they could make that whole entire grid, they could make it solar. Why? There's sun every day. It's a tropical island. Come on, guys. But to sit up there and be like, and then the whole thing with the whole shithole countries and all of that, and not allowing people in, and people that have served in the military, they're not trying to give them any money. Whether you think they are, all of it is propaganda. All of it is rhetoric. Because they don't want to spend that money. They really don't. And even when Trump fired on Iraq, you notice how quick they squashed that? They squashed it like it was like, it's out the news cycle right now. Ain't nobody even talking about it no more. One day we thought we was in World War III. 2 days later, nothing happened. Why? Because the rich and the powerful were like, look, we can't do that right now because we're making money. See, they know, okay, we got a 30... Businesses have a 30% tax cut. Basically, it's just like them sending out tax collectors back in medieval times. Okay, we're going to take all the money from the poor and from the middle class. In fact, this time they're not even talking about trickle down economics. They're just like, look, we're going to just straight take this money. And I saw one comment, and it said that you don't make or earn $1 billion, you steal it. And that's basically what they're doing. And before, the way they stole was in wartime economies. So before, Republicans stole in wartime economies. So you start a war, right? But this time it's not profitable. They don't need it because they get all the tax money. So they don't need to start a war. So Trump kind of flew the gun, and they were like, oh, hold up, man, don't do that, because we're going to get all this money back anyway. So like when Bush, when they started, the Desert Storms and all of that kind of stuff, wars, they were or Vietnam, those wars were started because they needed a way to funnel money, So we pay, so I buy up. So say I'm rich, I'm a rich guy. I go to the stock exchange. I'm not saying poor people can't do this too, but this is what they do. They go to the stock exchange. They buy, say XYZ company they build guns and they build bombs or whatever. And so XYZ company does this. I buy a bunch of stock in XYZ. I start a war. XYZ makes all the bombs for the war. Of course, then we sign a defense contract. It costs $300 billion. So who do you think gets that $300 billion? Because it don't cost $300 billion to make a bomb. I mean, or guns or anything like that. So that's why these things occur. And Republicans have historically, go back and do your research. They historically have always run wartime economies. They run wartime economies. That's what they do. In fact, and that's how even the whole thing about the New World Order, the Rothschilds, all of that. What they do is they even fund both sides of the war. That's why Putin and Trump are friends. That's why they all in cahoots together. They're not sitting at that table talking about who's going to start World War III or who's going to push the button. They're talking about money. Don't get fooled. Don't let the smooth taste fool you. It's because it ain't about us against them. It's about who's going to supply. If we do this, how are we going to get paid, and who's going to supply the weapons? And then because they're not going to die. All the poor people are going to die. And right now, what's the main topic out there is depopulation or population control. You see these things keep going around about Bill Gates and population control and how there's too many people on Earth and all this kind of stuff. And that's all propaganda. That's a lie. To get you. There's not too many people on Earth. There will never be too many people on Earth. It's not. This is not like that. That's not a scenario that we have to deal with. But every single regulatory thing that's out there is being repealed. It's being cut back. All of the stuff doing with pollution, all the stuff doing with chopping down the rainforest, all the stuff dealing with anything that's environmental, that's economic, that's regulatory over how goods and services have to be made and delivered and all that kind of stuff. All of those regulations are going away. Why? So that the rich can get richer. Because if I don't have to follow any rules and regulations, just like if I'm an auto company and I don't have to have environmental standards on my vehicles, then I can make the vehicles any way I want, and I can make as much money as I want off of them. So this stuff is important, and that's why. So that vote in the Senate, to basically say we're not gonna impeach him, we're not even gonna call witnesses, we're not even gonna try, and that's the only check that you have on the presidency. Other than that, to try him and convict him and get him out of office. If he's convicted, then he has to leave office. So the only way that we can get him out of office is if we vote him out. We got to vote him out. The people got to come out and speak. And the other thing is they got to speak in such a fashion, we have to speak loud and clear in such a fashion that there is no way that even the Electoral College can squeak him back in. And because that's basically what they did the first time, because they knew these are rich. Ask yourself, these are rich people. All they want is their money. They don't care about anything else. But they will turn on Trump if everybody turns on Trump. But we got to turn on him. If not, if you don't, it's like everybody got a Tekashi 6ix9ine right now. You got to snitch. You got to snitch. If you don't snitch, he's gonna be back. Don't nobody point the finger and don't nobody stop him, because the Senate's not. And the other thing is, get rid of those senators too. If you got a senatorial election in your state, get rid of them. Anyway, that's it. That's 15 minutes. Like button, subscribe button. Love you.